such a high priority champion. Sometimes, but they has slipped through draft an awful lot. I suppose with Milio being up and available, a lot of people have been preferring to pick the Milio and not really wanting to pick the Renata into the Milio because of the huge cleanse. It just feels like Milio's ult neutralizes a lot of what Renata wants to do. This is the first Senna that we have had today, though. There's been almost 100% ban rate in regards to that. And that's going to go over to Hope and Kael.
And it's going to be the first time we see this combo from these two. So trying to whip out something that's definitely strong on this patch. And I like the direction, at least, that they're headed. A lot of safety through the late game for them right now. The Tristana gets locked in, and LGD are guns blazing with another double marksman composition.
This time it feels like, oh, with the Milio as well. Double AD carry with Milio with the double range increase. Yikes, that's going to be nasty for AL to play their way through. You need yourself a tank frontline now for LGD to play off of. There's a chance you could go for a Rumble here for Hery if you really wanted to. There's 3 targets which that champion's already pretty good into. But, it's going to look like it's going to be the Azir instead. This has been just the champion of the moment. Feels like Azir does pretty well into most things. There's very few things which can really rock this champion from the mid lane, at least in the LPL.
He always finds a way back, Nymeara. Always, just like Corki, always finds a way. Azir, at this point, a staple. The LPL.
You know, like the Jurassic Park line, the Jeff Goldblum,
exactly.
like the life finds a way.
Thank you. I'm glad you caught my drift. We're on the same page.
Thanks.
Perfect synergy going into a long night. Udyr does get banned though, so we're not gonna see that power pick this time around. We're not gonna see that crazy noodle fight in the side lanes over and over again this time. But it does beg the question: what exactly we get from these solo lanes?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rumble has been hugely high priority. I think the Rumble is maybe less good against AL because the Tahm Kench can eat up one of the targets from it. I think the Rumble's pretty good in general for the side of anyone's legend because there are 3... Well, they ban it themselves. They obviously don't think the same. They just don't want Burdol to play it. That's fine. I think if you tag that onto the Milio, Varus, and Triss, I would have quite liked that pick. Anyway, that's gone. Obviously, we're looking at the Cassante as one of the best tank frontliners left remaining. Question is, do LGD want to give that over? They might want to pick it themselves. If they do give it over, do they have a counter prepared for Burdol? I mean, he typically plays stuff like the Poppy into it. That's already gone.
The Lee Sin ban actually towards Croco. I like that. Giving Croco a little bit less options to work through, and something that I feel like gives him a lot of priority too. The Cassante does get locked in for Hery though.
So this one was pretty obviously going to be locked in. So when you're on your second ban here as LGD, as you were, you ban the Lee Sin. You know the Cassante's coming in. So what's Burdol going to pick up? You're just going to pick up the Aatrox again. He's played that a lot, the Lethality Aatrox. It feels like it can be okay into something like the Tahm Kench, because what Tahm Kench can struggle against is lots of AoE damage coming in from a good flank on the backline, because you can only save one person. Now, if Burdol and Meteor combo up well with the Maokai Aatrox, they can threaten too many people for Kael to save. Now, on the other side, you have yourself tanky frontline stuff already. What are you going to lock into this jungle versus the Maokai? The Rel's being hovered, jack of all trades, good ability to get in towards the backline in a way that the rest of the competition don't really have right now. So that's pretty nice. It allows you to get onto the backline, at least in a way that the other champions in the competition can't.
And also a pick that we saw banned a little bit earlier today, but not really been picked up at all. Actually, at all today. And we finally do get to see it. I really like the Rel jungle. I feel like it has so many options in terms of the engage potential there. So many mechanical plays with the flash, shattering strikes, the crash downs, things like that. And right now it feels like there's an armored shield around the composition of anyone's legend.
However, much like last game though, from LGD, 2 pretty strong DPS carries. It's not the Ezreal, it's the Varus, which is better at tank killing than the Ezreal is, especially at the moment. So with the Milio backing them up, that armored shield, it wouldn't surprise me to find some gaps in the armor there.
Gonna have to find maybe a Lord Doms somewhere. maybe that's
I hear that's an actual item within League of Legends. I never knew that until today. It's incredible.
That's crazy. But we are getting into game number 2 of this one. It is our second series in Shanghai. But it's also one that both these teams heavily want to come away with, right? LGD, they would put themselves in the top rung of the ladder in the LPL. 3-1 would be what they're walking away from this one with, while AL could even up their series scoreline to 2-2. But it is a long way coming. Maybe a reverse little mini sweep coming for AL. But LGD, with this composition, going back to the double marksman, really trying to find the execution to take this one home. They're still kicking Nymeara. They're still going.
Just like us, voices on last legs.
They probably switched out the audience in between. Just to be
They
real.
probably did, yeah. they have, sadly, they have strength in numbers on us, mate. We've been trying our best.
Though I do want to take a little bit of time to focus up on how the win conditions work out here. I know we talked a little bit about it coming away from the draft, but it is something where I feel like some proactivity definitely needs to be in the court of AL. At least in terms of Croco. Sorry, I didn't add the caveat there. But
yeah, I was
feel
about to say, like, what do you want
not obviously not hope, but I feel like Croco needs to have an influence here, right?
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, like, sadly,
it's late,
Tristana
right?
in mid lane. Yeah, God, it is. Well, yeah, it used to be early for me, and now it's not early, which is just as bad as it being late. But Haichao, he's probably going to be pushing in this mid lane. We expect that. Bot lane, I need to see if there's double Dorans coming in from Hope and Kael. Sometimes we see that from the setup because you brawl early, and then you back for your support items first. No, we're not going to see that, so it is going to be the support item center right the way off. So that probably means that the Varus Milio is going to get an ability to push in waves at some point towards his bot side soon.
And I expect some of this pathing to be a little bit different from what we've seen normally. Obviously, I think a big focus will be the 2v2 in the bot lane, mostly for the side of AL to protect them and get Hope to a position of power, but also to try to dissuade Kepler and JinJiao.
Actually, it's worth talking about that too, because yes, you want to protect the center Tahm Kench as well, but the Tahm Kench is a much more aggressive champion than he used to be, because his W is a really good engaged tool. You can use it to find good setup, especially if you have an ability to control one of these bot lane bushes. Start your W from out of vision. It gives so much less reaction time, so you can have surprisingly good burst damage and engaged threat there. So if Croco can get into a position where actually Kael can engage from out of vision, that is potentially quite powerful for AL. We'll see how they can manage this and how they can manage Kepler and JinJiao getting a good push here. Croco doesn't want to have to respond to mid lane if he doesn't have to.
Shout out to the stats on the bottom of the screen. Poor support rels. Unwinning in the LPL so far. Jungle's looking a lot more hot for that one. Over a 70% win rate too.
My interpretation of that is the fact that particularly when you look at some of our very top teams in the LPL, they've gone towards just early lane domination. And when you're playing support rel, you're not really a level 1 champion. You can be in some lanes, but not against the Varus Ashes and the Renata Kalista, stuff like that. In fact, a lot of the time we've seen rel flexed away from bot lane just to avoid lanes like that. Because that bot lane priority is so important. It gets you early dragons, it gets you early first bloods and stuff like that. We see both junglers heading down towards here again. And because it's the red side bot lane being pushed in, one of the big changes to the map, of course, it's much easier to go into the enemy jungle and potentially wrap around bot lane as well. Meteor's going to be completely fine taking the scuttle on the bot side. And Croco, we asked him to maybe look for something in bot side. The positioning wasn't really there. He's going to find himself looking for other opportunities elsewhere.
That's something I've also
He's handing out his resume.
yeah, that's what he's doing.
He's like, look, I'm sorry guys, like bot lane, this job's just not working out for me. Where else can you go?
Anywhere else but there, apparently.
Yeah.
I do wonder though, because it's a situation where I think a lot of the pressure that we're finding from the mid lane will affect things later on. But that bot lane focus you were talking about earlier and a lot of the priority bot lanes that we're looking at, it's because there's such a prevalence of those objectives. And especially a league like the LPL that already plays very fast, you're trying to opt into that as much as possible.
Oh gosh, the thing about LPL playing fast though, so actually this split of all splits, it slowed down. I think the average game time went from 30 something minutes, like sometime between 30 and 31 minutes, to about average game length of 33.5 minutes, which is obviously like a 3.5 minute slowdown compared from last summer regular season when all the teams are playing. It's a little bit unfair to do it for playoffs because, you know, you've got some of the teams who aren't playing. You compare that with the rest of the world, it is by far the biggest slowdown, and now LPL is actually really struggling to keep up its game length. It's something which I'm a little bit concerned about. I miss fast-paced League of Legends. It's great watching
Hey, we got
DLG
gifted
hammer
tonight,
them out.
all right?
But this, I'd say, comparing today to yesterday, I feel really bad for Joe and for Lyric as well. They had some really slow games. These ones have been faster. Haichao's going to find Croco as well. Has level 6. Dodges out of the Shattering Strike. Man, some fancy feet.
And, of course, a reason why Croco is trying to lean over towards these grubs is that Rel is just so innately good at taking them because of the big shield that they get. LGD deny that. Take all 3 grubbies, and episode 1 of the Telegrubbies is done.
For a second, I thought we were going back to Star Wars, and it's like the Phantom Menace kind of thing. I don't know exactly how we'd make that into a void thing.
That's a stretch.
It really...
Speaking
dude,
of, you should stretch.
I'm really digging deep here, buddy. I've got to find something to keep myself awake. It's been a little time. So, bot lane resets means that Croco can go towards bot side Dragon. Typically, when you have bot side pushing so hard, the side with the pushing bot lane will get Dragon as well. But because of the resets, Croco thinks he can start this up. Meteor can go over to check, and I think that he doesn't have many options here because Shanks also has mid lane priority.
He's gonna see Meteor immediately, and the Dragon already over half health down. Meteor, though, last time he just walked up and smoted 2 of those. See if he can do it again. Oh, it's going to be Croco that gets it this time. Kael is actually on an angle here. He has the...
Yeah, he's out of vision right now. He could have potentially... Well, okay, if he W's in there, he 100% dies. I would have 100% full centered, though. Out of vision from the Tahm W. Potential of something big happened there, but still, wanting to bide their time. I think that makes sense, you know. This center Tahm is going to be really annoying later into the game. There isn't a huge amount of ability to get on top of this center in the backline. And that's going to be a big worry for LGD. So if the center has value, I mean, in this case, they're not going to be quote-unquote farming well. I mean, it depends if Kael goes over towards a later support item. But if they get value, this center is going to be very hard to take out from LGD.
I will say one thing that anybody that comes away from this series knowing will have is that Croco really likes to set up lane ganks in bot lane. Because this is 2 games in a row that he's continuously tried to ambush poor Kepler and JinJiao.
I mean, he is an ambush predator. Now, I know you're a Zuki.
He's a
Did you ever
Rel.
work with Alligator?
That's not an ambush predator. That's a metal horse.
I mean, it is right now. Do you see him? Well, I mean, you can see him in the bush.
Are horses ambush predators? Well,
it's an ambush predator.
An equine difference is right there, and that is first blood to AL.
That's the last time I'm trusting you for animal facts. That's an ambush from me, and it's a successful one. Kill over to the center. What did we just say? The center's going to be a problem because you can't take them off the table very easily. Now there's an extra kill there. They are going to be much more relevant, and LGD, they have a problem on their hands.
Now, my real question is, when was the last time you heard equine? Huh?
Okay, that's actually a good question. I know. Look, I don't use the word option often. But this one, this steel horse has done a lot of work. Okay.
Shanks with a pull away solo bolo in the mid lane.
Gosh, that's some geese and gold too. So suddenly, it's looking pretty good for AL. And you know what that means?
We're going
we
to
could
9
be
games.
in. We're going to 9 games. Maybe, potentially. The carries from AL are ahead. They're getting good value. They've got kills on the board. And LGD don't have great ways to get towards that backline. You're really just hoping that Burdol can get a good angle on this Aatrox. Maybe if he goes for something like the Profane Hydra, he can get some good damage onto the backline. But as it stands, LGD, they are in big trouble if this gold keeps racking up.
Double marksman composition is a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. We talked a lot about it last game as well, but it ended up paying off for them. Meanwhile, we get the POV of Shanks absolutely handling Haichao.
Let's go. So, he has himself to level 6. He has himself flashed as well. So, how the heck does this one go? I mean, he just walks up at the 3rd HP.
I don't know what you're expecting from that
He
one.
just walks up at a 3rd HP!
I don't know what you're expecting.
What? Haichao, we praised you all night! What was that?
You gotta give him one to scratch your head about. Hey, maybe Meteor was like, go in right now, I got you, boo. And then, hey.
Oh, yeah, so it's actually Meteor. He's reaching over.
Right?
He's reaching over across the keyboard and saying, Haichao, buddy, this one's for me.
I'm just saying, I wasn't watching the face cam, so I don't know that that didn't happen.
You just put your hand over the corner when the face cam pops up. You just never know what happens. Well, okay, suddenly Croco, ambush predator again. I know he's pretty good at this, although this time it feels like Kepler and JinJiao, they've learned from their previous mistakes, going to back off from this turret. But the fact that a Varus Milio has to be forced off of bot lane turret, is quite concerning for LGD. This center Tonkan should not be getting as much free reign. You can see actually between the CS between the both lane pairings, they're actually pretty even on the total amount of minions taken.
Croco has holistically focused his bottom side. It has led to LGD getting 6 grubs though, so that will be something that lasts the entire game, long-term goal for them. And speaking of a goal, Burdol gets the help from Meteor to slam down Hery.
Bonk. He just hits him over the head. Hery has the ghost, can't use the all-out in time from the looks of it. Bot side, you can see that Kepler and JinJiao are still forced off from this bot side turret. It's good damage onto Hope, don't get me wrong, but they've lost 2 plates. They've lost a handful of minions to the turret too. This is good news for Burdol, but, I mean, again, bad news for LGD and the fact that this center is hyper-relevant.
And it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. The scaling is infinite. We'll see that come into play as game goes. Burdol, though, gets the angle with the help of Mr. Meteor.
Burdol, determined to give us only 8 games instead of the 9. Okay, it's not quite like that. The good route in there from Meteor means that the combo up, no all-out available. He's CC too long, he can't get that. And it does look like he is going towards the Profane Hydra. That has been one of our most common builds of the Aatrox. LGD are really hoping that Burdol can get to a point where he can threaten the backline on his own flank angles, because it feels like he has to do a lot of his own stunts this game.
It's been really cool to see Burdol. Again, it was something we talked about earlier. He's had some really up and down performances coming over from Live Sandbox last year, at least. It's been curious to see him adapt into the LPL, because it feels like he fits in pretty well. At least he's been able to take a lot of 1v1 fights in lane, things like that. For me, it's been the best moments coming from like his flank angles and stuff, and I expect that to be the case here with the Aatrox.
Also, I mean, we saw the Poppy banned away from him in first round bans as well, but coming into this game, he's had a couple of different champions which he's succeeded on. The Aatrox and the Poppy, probably the 2 I go towards first, but then K'Sante, of course. It doesn't feel right to say that, oh, this top laner has succeeded on K'Sante.
Everyone
top laner has succeeded on K'Sante. Does it really count? Remember back in the day when Yuumi was doing incredible KDA and incredible work, but it's still Yuumi. Can you really call that playing a game of League of Legends? It's not quite to that level, but there's definitely some consideration.
Oh, Meteor just fell flash. Oh, that feels so bad. I'm sure we're about to get a slow motion replay from our observers for that one.
Yeah, because Haichao also tries to win the mind game against Shanks to cancel a dash, but he uses the Buster Shot, and then Shanks dashes out, so it's just a bit of a comedy of errors. Shanks just looks at the free summoner and the ultimate he's gotten for his superb play.
I just had to stand there.
He just stood there menacingly, buddy.
Got a lot of that tonight, either walking or standing, I feel like. It's been a theme.
Okay, come on. Yes! Yes,
no!
Observers, show us what happened! What happened with Meteor? He stands there, he hits a minion, he flashes into the wall! Incredible plays from Meteor!
Why did he do that?
What is happening?
At this point, is it Haichao getting back and him saying, yo, go in right now? He's like, I was about to walk away.
Oh god, this has not been the game for this
story that lives in my head, by
yet.
the way. This is like the communication's working out right now.
That is exactly what happened. I'll be brooking no further complaint beyond this point. Right, let's check back in on it. Gold is fairly even. That is not the problem. Profane Hydra completely built up by Burdol at this point. Very big item completion, gives wave control, gives really good all-in threat as well, should anyone dare to fight him in his own territory. We've got Kraken Slay coming out. First item not completed for Hope, of course, on the center. Have slightly less income, but does have the Blood Song, and they're stacking up on the souls pretty well. One of the bonuses of having a center being able to walk beyond the wave is that you can look for poke on enemy champions, and that means that your stacks go up even quicker from hitting champions.
Something to keep on an eye out as well all game long, it feels like. These 6 grubs really starting to come to bear in this topside matchup. Burdol should be able to take this turret down. That'll be first turret of the game going to LGD.
Yeah, I think this has been a very fascinating day to see what happens with 6 grubs. A lot of games have been lost with 6 grubs across the world. I mean, a couple of very high-profile ones too. T1 versus Gen.G, they lost their game 3 despite having 6 grubs in that game. G2 versus Rogue, they lost a game over in the LEC in a similar situation.
Like
they try to go towards the Smoke and Mirrors. 1v1 in top side.
I think this is going not Burdol's way as Croco comes down. The crash down seals the deal, and Hery picks it up.
Okay, that's an important kill, because we were looking at Burdol as a player who's gotten a lot of resources in topside. Taken the full turret, had a dive assist from Meteor as well, so we've gotten a kill onto that turret. Now suddenly Hery getting some gold back on the board. That's actually quite important.
Yeah.
He's a big part of anyone's Legends team composition in how they can play around this back line. You need the front line to be strong enough to buy time for this Azir and Senna to do damage from range.
And I think this is also a symptom of what we've seen from Burdol, right? The up and down nature I was talking about, it is catch-outs in the side lane a lot of the time.
I think, you know, we had a conversation earlier about the state of the top laners which aren't on top teams in the LPL. It is a fascinating matchup to watch whenever it's not like, you know, your top 4 teams. You tend to have some very good top laners. We've seen games go back and forth from between pretty much every top laner in the lower tier LPL teams from last year. This one is just Burdol walking in after he's used his Q3 by the looks of it. Oh no, not quite. He has his Q back up at this point. Burdol, sadly, getting just massively danced on. Croco comes up for the final bite of that kill as well. Hery, though, smooth moves.
Man, where do you think Hery went to dance class? Because that was pretty impressive. I want to know.
Do you like jazz? Is that it? Do you reckon this? I'd say it's the B movie, but it's B in brackets Burdol, so it's just the
I can't think
Burdol
about
movie.
the B movie the same anymore. And if you know, you know. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Burdol is getting engaged on yet again. They think, why not punish him yet again? The Dawning Shadow is coming across. Burdol healing up a lot as well, but it's not going to be enough, and Croco gets his first kill of the game.
No, I don't think Burdol is the main character in this movie. Sadly, he's looking a little bit more like the first antagonist, which falls by the wayside. Gold once again going over to the side of anyone's Legend. It's even enough in terms of the gold, particularly because of the plates which went over. But anyone's Legend, I don't think they're in an unhappy spot now. I think they're actually starting to stabilize. We haven't seen our first big fight of the game, but they managed to get themselves a tower back, and that's good news for them.
Rift Herald is going down to AL right now while the Dragon is being sweeped out from AL themselves. That will be denying the soul point from them, but I think getting the Rift Herald with some lasting damage could do the work that they need.
Call in their destruction special. Demolition, that's the word.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
Wait, that's
like
Zig.
Clear this plot of land, return it back to nature from whence it came.
But Ziggs isn't in
I
the
kind
game
of fun, by the way. There's some quite disturbing. Oh wait, hang on. I can't even talk about this. This is just when you're dead now. Okay.
I think it might be so. He's gonna flash pop the nature's grass. Kael going to go for it now. Burdol is here, trying to save Meteor's life as he does deny the abyssal dive.
Aw, shame. I was about to say, there's some quite disturbing implications of Herald and Dragon dropping 2 souls for Senna. Like, what's going on there that they have 2 souls? Are they like Gestalt creatures? Are they like hybrid creatures, multiple things living in one?
Yes.
It's quite concerning.
They are. I'll just answer your question right there. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah.
Don't fact check it.
But I know that you tell me to, you know, rely on you as a source of animal facts, you know, given your history and like zookeeping and stuff like that. But this, I didn't realize it reached through to the fancy creatures of Summoner's Rift too. I'm glad I can rely on you for that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Again, don't look at my credentials, but yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you.
Wait.
Oh.
So what happened to it?
Oh,
No. Oh wait, hang on. What happened?
It worked.
No.
No.
He drove it into his own side. Shanks.
Well, okay, but again, we've seen it.
It has happened a lot,
It has
actually.
some very weird mechanics. The fact that this happens regularly in pro play is absolutely hilarious.
As far as I'm aware, the indicator for where you click on the Herald as you get into it is sometimes misleading. And I think sometimes you can click another time and it goes weird after that point. We've seen Knight do it, we've seen Carrier do it, we've seen Shanks do it. We have seen a lot of players really struggle at the control system of this
That's
Herald.
not fair, though. It's like making the left and right steering backwards and saying "have fun." Like, I don't know what you want me to do if you hand me a car that goes opposite.
It's like when you're playing an FPS or something like that, and you've accidentally flipped the invert y-axis, and you're like, "What is happening?" Absolutely weird
It's just
stuff,
so hilarious.
man.
Again, it's just hilarious that it's happening on a professional level. You gotta think, like, what do these guys say to themselves when this happens?
Hope he's not seen there. I was actually wondering if Haichao managed to mind game that and jumped on top of Hope there. That would have been insane from that point. Hope has got himself to his first item. He is significantly strong now. He's going to be a big damage threat. Something like Senna. Again, the real difficulty with a champion like this, particularly with the Bloodsong item right now, they do significant damage whilst not having the income of a full AD carry. You can see right now that Kael has himself a support item
1v1.
too. It's going to be a bit of poke because Haichao doesn't want too
Oh,
much
whoa!
smoke. This is a fighting
Meteor
joke
got
outside
engaged
jungle.
on. He's in a lot of trouble. Shanks is right behind him. The Magnet Storm drags him back. And now Haichao, he's under turret versus the coming onslaught of anyone's legend. They're going to get the Dawning Shadow out. He's actually spacing really well here, trying to get away. The crash down, the lockdown, and Hope is gunning him down too. As Haichao, one more shot, one more auto. Hope goes and commits. Kepler's here. TP coming in from Burdol. This is looking scrappy as LGD trying to get the resets. The World Ender is alive and well, but that Devour comes in clutch for anyone's legend.
But Haichao with the high roll stays alive for such a long time that it turns into a 1-for-1 somehow. Turret's still going to fall. It's a big old mess of a play. I guess anyone's legend walk out on top of that because they get themselves a bit more territory across the map, but that should have been a much cleaner win. They can't quite manage to land the knockout blow on Haichao early enough. What that's going to mean is, you know, there's a decent amount of damage, particularly going over to Azir in this play. Again, big issue. Feels like this Azir is really getting up to huge points in damage. He already has the 2 items. JinJiao tries to help out Meteor, but Meteor's just way out of position. We've seen this a lot of times today. As soon as Maokai's flash is down, he's not a hard champion to take care of. The melee range route from the Maokai is not enough to see him to safety. This is a bit of an overplay. Croco misses some skills. I think at this point, just leave. just go. I don't think it should be extended this far. It takes a turret shot for it too. You can see the threat that Burdol has at the end of that play too with the Hydra. We'll see if he can try and do that again, or whether that really does require anyone's legend playing into him. But again, a little bit of threat from Burdol, it kind of wakes you up again, because Burdol can potentially do some teamfight damage.
We did just get Gwynsu's completed second item for Kepler. The mid lane, though, is going to go down. Sundisk should come up immediately afterwards if they want to play around it. It does. Dragon coming up now would be sole point for AL.
This is such a toxic thing to do as Azir. You need mid priority, push down the turret, put the tower up. You're not getting the mid wave beyond this point, at least for the next wave. Very nasty way to keep yourself in control of that mid lane. That is a mistake though, Croco.
Nature's Grass comes through. Meteor's going to get locked down as well by the chains. Haichao is in a weird position here. Let's be a little bit careful, but I'd like to play from LGD. Force AL away from the Dragon Pit, but they might have just given up too much.
Maybe. Meteor took a huge chunk, so he's going to have to find himself... I don't think he's going to be able to get himself a good enough set of regen on boss. There's a pink ward on the Baron, which means that this won't go unseen. They do have Rageblade Blade onto the Varus, means they do have good Baron damage, but I don't think they're really wanting to start this. This is kind of risky.
They are going to pull the trigger. AL are running for it. Hope's going to stay. No, he decides to come back.
They've got this. Croco's not here
down. Croco and AL make a mistake. Dawning Shadow comes out. Kael's going straight in. Hery's trying to get the engage. Abyssal Dive connects on a Meteor, but now it's LGD turning the hands. Big Emperor's Divide buffered out of by Haichao. Here comes the Magnet Storm. I don't know, though. It's not going to be enough as they do end up getting Kepler. Burdol and Meteor running away. Was it worth it? And what did it cost? Literally everything.
I mean, it's still going to be out with 2 Baron buffs, maybe even 3. Burdol has Flash. I think he's made it out safe from beyond this point. If he can get himself an Empowered Recall, which it looks like he does, LGD, considering that they just lost so much mid lane priority, it felt like they had no rights going towards the Baron. AL leave too many people on the Dragon, though, to respond. So LGD, they're going to get themselves a chance to stabilize in this game after losing a lot of map pressure in fights before.
We're going to take a look back at that. I think LGD's heads-up play here was really big. They realized they can burn this down quickly.
The most important thing is actually just before this, where you see 3 people stuck on the Dragon, which means that anyone's legend can't keep everyone up here in time. Great buffer out from Haichao. He's had a great series. He's had a great split so far as one of the newest superstars kind of joining this roster. Well, I mean, we'll see if he's deserving of the superstar title right now. He's doing pretty well. We weren't quite given that one for free, but still, good buffer out of that one. Keeps him alive, and live, we're into another fight. It's not going to be soul. It'll be soul point for anyone's legend if they get it. Oh, they don't.
What? Kepler denies! AL
Varus W, man.
Point.
Varus W arrows, they are potent. Remember that DRX T1 Worlds Finals where like 2 Barons got stolen in Game 5 by Varus arrows? This stuff really, really hurts objectives. We're back out onto the map. Both of the last Both of the last objectives are taken up by LGD and AL. They are not as in it. They're in not as strong position as they were only a few minutes ago.
They still feel like they're scaling up into infinity, though, and that's something we always have to keep an eye out for this composition. They don't mind having these scrappy fights because they know in the end they will have the upper hand.
Are they scaling up into infinity and beyond?
Oh,
Kael is
maybe.
going to pull back. He doesn't have flash.
I actually think that's a pick. He's got the gray health, but it doesn't matter. One more, and that's it. A reset comes through for the World Ender. The mites come out to bear, and LGD have made a big pick onto the front line.
Gosh, this has been a good series of plays back-to-back from LGD. It feels like they've managed to get themselves into a good point of power. Kael, bad overstep in that moment. Didn't have the flash, gets caught by the Infernal Chains, and suddenly LGD, this feels like a little bit more than a stabilization. They're starting to crawl back in this game.
They're not shying away from it, and that's the fact. I think they do still have the double marksman comp. We were talking about some of the negative aspects of that, but when you do have some positive aspects to it, it shines real well. And I think the duality of the very fast sustained damage is something that LGD can absolutely play around, because now that you've done it once, it's only going to get easier to burn that Baron, and it's something AL always have to think about.
However, you still need to avoid some of the members of anyone's legend. You just got the death cap picked up by Shanks. Oh my god, he's going to do some damage with the Nashes and the Lich Bane besides that too. No one can really stop Shanks from killing him. There is no one tanky enough on the side of LGD. It is a lethality Aatrox. Meteor has the Chaotic Rookurn and some Merc Treads, but that is not nearly going to be enough to stop Shanks from shredding that HP bar. So they need to be very careful about watching the positioning of anyone's legends carries before they commit to fights.
First of all, starts with getting good positioning, and I think we've seen LGD fall to that sometimes. We got to think of how AL can push their advantage to some extent, or at least the small advantage they have. Shanks showing off the damage potentially has on that third item spike. Just one couple autos does that much to Meteor.
So Croco also broke the shield with the Shattering Strike. I kind of forgot that would apply to magic shields as well, but heck, that happens. It's a nice extra bit of utility that, of course, the Rel can bring with that shield break on the Shattering Strike. So, after the Baron has now worn off, you can see that LGD, they are still getting pushed in across the board, really. They don't have any vision onto the enemy side of the map. They don't really have any vision on their side of the map. They are playing with the blinkers on just through their lanes. AL are going to finally reset, get themselves back out onto the map with wards and items. With 1 minute and a half left on the Baron, and then a Dragon soon after that point, they're starting to gear up for the next phase of objectives.
I just want to know what kind of blinkers you got.
The ones you have on horses,
but
the ones which keep
those
you
are blinders.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you're staying in lane, but you got the blinkers activated. I like it.
Yeah,
you're like an old person at the wheel.
It'd be a very different show if you had peaky blinkers instead of peaky blinders. You know? Funny thing about that is obviously like the no fighting, you know that one scene? I would quite like that to just be fighting. So I watched the first season or two. There was a very famous scene where a guy was just like, no, you can't fight at this one special event. I would quite like that, the opposite to happen here. I feel like we are here for great bloodbaths and fights. It's kind of our specialty.
Well, I have news for you. We have about a minute for another dragon, and that usually means fighting.
Normally, occasionally. The thing is, LGD, they don't have that much vision to play around. You can see that AL,
they
got
Meteor
themselves some early resets before this, and they don't have the vision to stop plays like this coming on. Melee range ultimate from the Maokai doesn't do that much, but now they're going for the TP.
Burdol with the TP! We called it from the start. He is the key. The Emperor's Divide comes through. Meteor's getting low. He's healing up so much. Burdol can't get the resets, though. And AL, it's now Kepler looking for the cleanups, looking for more. He's gotten a couple, and it's LGD doing it. Kepler gets hit. Kepler gets locked down. Kepler's in some trouble, but he's firing back at Hery. And Hery's trying to run away now. He goes in, tries to get Kepler. He goes down. And it's LGD straight to the Baron.
A pick onto Meteor in his own jungle turns into a game-turning flank from Burdol. Burdol gets onto both carries, manages to get the Devour out of the Tahm Kench easily too. And anyone's legend, it felt like they're in such a good position yet again. And now they're almost 5,000 gold behind. Made that just over 4,000 rather. But that is such a huge swing from LGD.
Yeah.
Again, look at this. It looks like a great pick onto Meteor. It felt like there wasn't enough vision from LGD to make a play happen. But what a sensational teleport. The Devourer's used up for free. Burdol gets to hold his Q3 as well. Meteor, he's done his job at this point. He dies, sure, don't get me wrong, but Shanks has had to flash for that kill. Great turnaround from LGD when it seemed like they had no options left.
Also, Burdol, insane. We called out his flank angles before. Haichao was like a hungry predator right there for Shanks. It was insane. He waited for him to step up and just had his eyes on him all the time, and there we go. Look at the happiness on that face.
Same, buddy. Same, buddy. We might, fingers crossed, be limited to 8 games today instead
just a
of 9.
casual full week of LCS.
We'll just
no
see.
Big deal.
We'll see, folks. It's just LGD trying to put the final nails in this game after have been on death's door just before this point. How much have AL got left in the tank? They need to be able to buy their carry some space. They've been struggling to do that so far.
The problem is, though, you have now a payoff paying dividends in terms of the 6 grubs that were already taken from LGD. That is the long-term plan, and that gold differential graph, my goodness, it was a tightrope down the center. But then this big opening, as now another opening is a big double wombo combo, and it's Shanks with a revenge play.
Oh, just as we thought,
You
it could be
cursed it.
over
I'm
at 2-0.
telling you,
It
I
could have
didn't
been that
say
LGD. They had the turnaround, they had the Baron. Suddenly, with huge death timers, this is probably going to be an inhib gone. They're charging really far forward in this mid lane. Without the virus here, what can they do to defend this?
I'm just saying, you're the one that said it. I didn't say a single word
so
about
sorry,
it.
LGD.
You're the one
I am
that did
so
it.
sorry.
You did this. This is on you. This is all your fault.
How
As
much are
now
they staying
anyone's
for?
legend are looking at the Nexus here. They realize there's one step left. One more moment as Burdol has come alive. This might be an overextension. Shanks eliminates Haichao! And the Nature's Grasp is not enough. The towers are starting to burn. There's no minions. They can't do anything. Oh my god. Burdol's about to get some resets. Okay, well, anyone's legend do some lasting damage. They get the inhibit mid lane, but they aren't able to finish out the game.
The game goes on. It is end-to-end business. I thought that we were watching League of Legends, not football. As it goes from one area right to the other. Gosh, Shanks with a huge, huge amount of damage. First in this side of the jungle to get the turnaround. This is the problem when you win a big fight. Sometimes you overpush into the enemy vision. That's exactly what happens here. Fantastic wombo combo. Goes up towards the Nexus and absolutely obliterates Haichao, who's still dead on the death timers too. This is... Now we're in a very weird game state, where of course the Baron's been kind of killed off at this point. The buff's not there anymore. We have Soul up in 2 minutes potentially for LGD, but because we've been end-to-end, the vision lines are not well set up yet, so we could get ourselves some random picks in an attempt to establish them.
Shanks is sitting at 8-1. He just finished his Void Staff. He has the Seeker's Arm Guard in tow as well. He is pumping out the damage.
And this is the guy that was WE's guy for such a long time. Of course, we saw them play earlier today. Hope and Shanks, they were part of that core. They were meant to be part of this, potential revival for Team WE. Shanks has had some great individual games over the last year. Maybe not at the elite level of the LPL, but certainly someone to be noted. Onto a new team now for 2024, and this kind of game, it makes you realize why WE kept him around for so long and why he was such a hot prospect in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, he was the big core for a long time for WE there. When Hope
there's a
wasn't
ward which
having
they
good
could
ones.
deep teleport
They
onto.
could. That's
See
huge.
if someone
I wonder, though, there's the Nature's Grasp.
He's
cross
going
PP.
for it. Here we
That's
go.
really deep, though. The Nature's Grasp is already gone. They don't have the length of engage, but they do have the flank. Burdol could get bursted down, though. Double TP, or at least ATP coming out now from AL. Here, engage from Croco. Meteor is getting chunked. He flashes out. Burdol still on the flank. Burdol onto Hope. Burdol trying to get the resets. Burdol can't do it. And LGD, they find the pick. Haichao flashing! Haichao!
Oh, the flash!
Give him that cat-chow, baby! As LGD, they find the 3 picks, and they needed it at that moment.
He needed it right there and right then. The deep teleport works out. It's a game of flanks. It's a game of Burdol teleports. You can see that Senna's got the recall off. With the wave gone in bot side, it's still not game!
Keep the carousel turning. Don't
We're
turn
still
the
in
lights
it!
up yet.
Why won't it end? We have a teleport on one side. The problem here is that Hery teleports in a bad spot, and AL feel obligated to bail Hery out. They overchase onto Burdol, they go back towards Hery to try and save him, and LGD managed to burn down the front line. Fantastic flash from Haichao. Both of these mid laners have had some great moments in this series. It's going to be a solo to LGD, but it is 35 minutes, and it's still not over, Mazael.
Baron in 15 seconds. Go ahead and keep that seat warm for me here, Nymeara, because we're going to go yet again. It is a burn down potential for both sides on the Baron. We're full builds coming through very shortly, at least for key components, and it's going to keep going.
I mean, we're getting to the point where the center is going to be really, really long range. You need to get behind the center again and again. Burdol looking for flanks again. This man is a monster when he's behind enemy lines.
But there are those catch-outs we've seen as well. They know that Burdol's above them. They have to be a little careful. Burdol gets the shield popped. Baron getting popped itself. He gets dragged back in. Croco gets buster shotted away. Nature's Grass comes across. Now LGD in a front to back. They feel good. Chains of Corruption. It's on the 4 members. The big Emperor's Divide there, but Haichao's in the back. Haichao's going deep.
Shanks is free hitting.
Shanks is still doing work. And AL, they've done it. They take down the competition so far, and Meteor and JinJiao, the only ones besides Burdol left.
I mean, what's going to happen here? We're not going to get teleported into the mid-wave. I don't even know if this is going to be the game again. It's currently a 2-for-2. Meteor might get run down, which would secure the Baron, but it doesn't secure the game.
They're going
we
for
are
the mid.
Still in it. Yet again, I don't think they have the HP bars right now. Shanks would have to recall and teleport back in. I don't think they can end.
Wait. Burdol gets caught. Dawning Shadow coming across. Hope is really trying to do some work here. Getting healed up, though, from those warm homes.
Oh, they're trying.
They're TPing in now. They're trying to break the mold here.
They have 10 seconds to try and buy time for Kepler. Burdol doesn't have GA anymore. Shanks does unreal damage. How much can Burdol do?
Burdol has to get the wave. They can't let these towers fall. As they
3 seconds. It's still game.
It's not enough. It's not enough. And now 37 minutes in, and we're going right back to it. A TP. That's Haichao. Is this the difference maker? Is this it? Haichao looking for that big Lightning McQueen moment as Burdol goes through. Kael is there. The golden goes through. Oh, piercing arrow is going to be devoured away.
I am absolutely jumping in my seat. Haichao almost has a killer flank angle himself, but that flangle doesn't come to be. The Azir turret saving the life of Shanks, and the Zhonya's afterwards, after the Varasalt lands, is absolutely crucial. Oh my word, LPL, I have missed you. Are you not entertained? The Baron starts up. We are in it for another round.
Let's go. Burdol on the side here. He does have TP coming up, but they haven't seen him yet. They have not seen him yet. Nymeara, this is it.
Oh,
this
it's
is
about Kael.
The flank to land everything, but he gets burned down. Oh, AL try to get away from it. They get Burdol in the end. So LGD down a man. They've got to get back to defend because AL are looking at the Nexus.
I mean, Croco's on 0 HP. What can he realistically do here? You can see that some of the recalls are coming in late. There is no Baron killed. The empowered recall's not here. There is one Nexus turret, and you have the Nash's Lichbane Azir to help try and take this in. How much can LGD wave clear? Enough, apparently.
They get it. They deny AL. I don't know what AL keeps thinking they can do. They just start throwing themselves at the Nexus.
And they keep throwing themselves against it to try and see if they can break down the walls of LGD. Kepler's caught!
Oh my goodness, the Dawning Shadow, everything! AL are doing it! We're going all the way, baby! I called it from minute 1 of this night! The LPL delivers, and we're going the distance!
Bodies are broken! Voices are shredded and Nexuses are shattered. It is a 9-game day for today's LPL, and we are going the distance as anyone's legend. Take the game versus LGD. Could it be any more perfect?
What a way to go. My goodness. I don't even have words. I knew it was coming. I'll take the applause.
Run out of that there. I mean, that was such an incredible game in multiple... It felt like a Shakespearean play. An act, 3 different acts with different stories between the rest of them. Fantastic flank angles, but not enough to seal the game. It felt like the early game was all going towards the center, and the Azir, it felt like they got the resources. They couldn't quite hold on to it. They clawed it back in a hectic late game, and it means we have one final game today, folks. Stay with us for this one. Oh my god.